Hi, my name is Barbara Thompson, and my husband Larry Thompson is my audience this evening.
Hi.
And my topic tonight is inclusive education, best for all students. Parents everywhere want what's best for their child. Every parent has hopes, aspirations, dreams, and fears for their child. For some, those dreams are lofty: doctor, lawyer, even President of the United States. For others, the aspirations are more modest: to be successful and happy in their chosen profession and have family and friends who love them. For parents of special needs children, the hopes are just as important: to maximize their potential and to be as fully functioning as possible. But all parents, no matter the ability or disability of their child, want them to belong, to be included, and to be part of the community. Under the current educational system, many of those special needs children are on the outside, not fully part of the group. These students are segregated by their educational placement in self-contained special education classrooms and have little contact with their normally abled peers. They are socially and educationally isolated from the flow of daily school life. It is as if they are on the outside of a window looking in, but unable to take part in what is going on. As a parent of a special needs student, I have seen firsthand the ups and downs of this type of placement, and I feel it is not only morally wrong, but also not helpful for either the student's educational or social development. My child has been in self-contained and special education classrooms and has also been in semi-inclusive general education settings. Our experience has been that she's blossomed in the semi-inclusive setting, but is slowly being socially isolated in the self-contained educational placement. She has gone from a happy and outgoing 5th grader to a withdrawn, shy 6th grader. She is losing her social skills. I would like to give you the pros and cons of inclusive education and show that both normally abled students and special needs students can benefit from this practice. It takes different forms in different schools, but there are commonalities in practice. The special needs students benefit by interacting with their age peers, building friendships and self-esteem, learning social interaction, and their educational experience is enhanced. The normally abled students reap some of the same benefits, while also building tolerance and acceptance of differences. Both groups form a community in which everyone belongs. Before I begin, let me explain what inclusion means in the educational setting. Irwin defined inclusion this way: the true essence of inclusion is based on the premise that all individuals with disabilities have a right to be included in naturally occurring settings and activities with their neighborhood peers, siblings, and friends. According to the Disability Rights Center of Arkansas's Parents Guide, the 2 fundamental principles of the IDEA, or the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act of 1991, are that a child receive a free, appropriate public education and that the student does so in the least restrictive environment. For this to happen, each student determined to have a disability is evaluated and given an individualized educational program, or IEP. In this plan, a team consisting of educators, therapists, and parents formulate a written plan for implementing the best education for the student based on need. The least restrictive environment is determined by the IEP team and is on a continuum from regular education with weekly monitoring, which is the least restrictive, to residential or homebound, which is the most restrictive. According to the U.S. Department of Education's National Center for Educational Statistics, for the 2009-2010 school year, which is the most recent data that's available, 13.1% of the nation's school children ages 3 to 21 receive some sort of federally funded educational assistance. Of those 6.5 million school children, about 35% are in the general education classroom, with 36.3% in resource room settings, and the remaining 23.5% in self-contained classrooms, according to the Southwest Educational Development Laboratory, a nonprofit educational research development and dissemination organization. Students in these placements have a variety of special educational needs, such as one-on-one assistance, assistive technology, and minimal distractions in the learning environment. The students in the general education placement spend more than 80% of the school day with normally abled age peers. Students in resource spend between 40 and 79% of their day with normally abled students, but those in self-contained classrooms spend less than 40% of the day with normally abled age peers, according to the IEP information from Mena Public Schools. The students in the most restrictive placements may spend recess, lunch, physical education, or electives with their classmates, but there is little social interaction between the groups. The special ed students become them and are an out-group, not truly belonging in their own school. I believe this practice is not helpful to the special education students because they are socially isolated. Not only do the disabilities separate them from their normally abled age peers, but the environment does not allow them to develop the social skills necessary to make friends outside the confines of their classrooms, further handicapping them in life. Inclusive education takes the services to the child in the regular educational setting as much as possible. I believe the practice of inclusive education would benefit the special needs students and the normally abled students in several ways. According to Deb Staub, social work and education coordinator for the Casey Family Program in Seattle, Washington, a major 5-year study into inclusive education showed the benefits of friendships between the disabled and non-disabled students. Friendships provide 3 benefits, quote, warm, caring companionship, growth in social cognition and self-concept, and the development of personal principles. Staub's report, Inclusion and the Other Kids, outlines additional benefits to normally abled students and disabled students: better social skills, increased self-esteem, and greater personal principles. According to Staub, normally abled students also gain greater comfort with differences. Quote, one 7th grader says, now I'm not like, she's weird, she's normal. I've gotten to work with people with disabilities, so I know that. An additional benefit to both groups of students is increased learning. According to Valley Dwight, as reported in Great Schools, additional staff dedicated to kids with learning disabilities lowers the overall student-to-teacher ratio. Smaller groups and more individualized instruction, a necessity for children with disabilities, usually mean a boost for everyone in the classroom. Quote, research is ongoing in this area. Now that I have given you the benefits of inclusion, let me acknowledge that inclusion is not feasible for every student. Those with disabilities was so severe that placing them in the general education classroom would pose a danger to others. Severe autism, emotional or behavioral issues, and the violent should not be put in inclusive educational settings for everyone's safety. However, for the vast majority of special needs students and their peers, inclusive education is beneficial to all. Some opponents of inclusion misunderstand what it entails. Let me tell you what inclusion is not. It is not mainstreaming. According to Kluth, Villa, and Thousand, mainstreaming is the practice of allowing a special needs student in the general education classroom only if they are able to keep up with the work the other students are doing. In their work, our school doesn't offer inclusion and other legal blunders. An example was given of a teacher sending a student with Down syndrome back to the special education classroom. Quote, the teacher told us how difficult the decision had been and explained why educators had changed Patricia's placement. The kids really liked her, and she loved first grade, but she just wasn't catching on with reading. She couldn't keep up with the other kids. Inclusion is also not full inclusion. Full inclusion is the practice of all students, regardless of need or disability, being educated in the general education classroom exclusively. This scenario is the one that most frightens parents and teachers because the disruptive influence of a few severely disturbed or disabled students will water down the education of all, and no learning will ever take place. I believe opponents of inclusive education fear that it will open the door for full inclusion, and I do not believe that is practical or desirable in all cases. Inclusion, though, is more than an educational practice. The judge ruling in the case Oberti versus Board of Education of the Borough of Clementon School District in 1993 said that under the IDEA, quote, inclusion is a right, not a special privilege for a select few. In conclusion, the benefits of inclusive education far outweigh the risks, and not only the special needs students, but also the normally able to reap those benefits. Friendship, understanding of differences, social skills, building greater self-esteem, and enhanced learning. The current educational system of special education placement needs review under the IDEA, and students should be placed in the least restrictive environment possible for their educational benefit. An important part of the educational process is the building of friendships with age peers and learning social skills, and special needs students are even more in need of these educational opportunities. Inclusion confers one more benefit to both normally abled and special needs students, the benefit of community. According to Staub, the research shows that perhaps the single most common feature shared by students in reciprocal relationships was membership in a caring school community that promoted pro-social development. Within a caring classroom, students have opportunities to learn about their classmates in ways that honor the full range of experience and differences that each child brings to the classroom. Furthermore, schools and classrooms can be structured to facilitate kindness, consideration, empathy, and compassion for others. As a parent, I want what is in my child's best interest, as do all of you. I hope that she will learn that she is a valued member of her school community. I aspire to an independent adulthood for her. I dream of the day when she will not be labeled because of her face. And I fear that continued segregated education will crush her bright and happy spirit. More importantly, I will work for a day when inclusion truly means that all of us, no matter what, are valued and belong. Thank you.